The way is in training. Miyamoto Musashi. Our way is in training. Each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes. That is all we ask. Patreon members, we just sent you 10 weekly vertical crossovers going up and 10 weekly vertical crossovers going down on the S&P 500. We send those out each and every week. Sometimes it's more than down than up, more up than down. It just depends. But since we've been doing this, we've only had 1 week where we fell short of finding you at least 20. And I sort through that list and try to help you pick out 10 good ones each way. And again, I need you to go in there, track those, find a couple that would be good for practice trading on Friday. Look at the market around 345. Look at all three of the charts, the half day, the 2-day, and the weekly, and then open a practice trade, up or down, however you want to do it. Now, Patreon members, of course, you have the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. I hope you've taken that because you can, of course, short the market with a put. You can go long with a call. You can also just purchase the stock in your virtual account. And again, we say all of that because we're not a stock calling service. We're an education firm. We're not a crypto calling service. We're not a commodity calling service. Not an ETF calling service. We are an education service. We want you to train with us. It doesn't cost you a thing to practice. So have a great training also for everyone today. The secret for maximizing the Monday effect. What is that all about? Well, you need to listen to that training. It's a very good one. If you are not a subscriber for free at chartingwealth.com, go there right now. Put your name and email address in, and you will get the trainings each and every day, along with the weekly market worksheet, daily market worksheet, and trade worksheets. And Patreon members, when you do the practice trades tomorrow, be sure to fill out your trade worksheet. That's where you justify what you're doing. It will, and you do that throughout the course of the trade. The minute you enter the trade, go ahead, lock in your profit and loss bands, and go ahead and put in a good till canceled sell order, both pre and post market, for the profit that you would like to receive. So if for some reason something goes crazy on Monday, pre, post market, whenever, you capture it. It's just a good habit to jump into. Now let's jump into these charts. Oh my gosh, everything pulled back in the opposite direction except for 20-year bonds. How did that happen? And look at what Ethereum did. Ethereum was up 4.25% yesterday. Told you that, again, lots and lots of downward pressure. It was down over 8% today. Bitcoin down 1% for the day. And again, this is the New York Stock Exchange Bitcoin Index. When we look at Grayscale, Bitcoin down 4.54%. So again, please follow the charts every day. Understand that when you see lots of major headwinds and their weekly vertical crossovers that are going down, the push on the market is down. And we see that in so many of our charts. When you see the rotation over and things are going up, then of course, again, you realize the power of the weekly vertical crossover. Does it work every single time? No, it doesn't. That's why you backtrack and you make sure that you are charting a stock or ETF or cryptocurrency that is chartable. There's some that aren't. Some just flail. Some don't move enough. Some are erratic. And guess what? You don't trade those. You pick those out and you say that doesn't work. Now you'll find stocks and ETFs that work for a while and then they get screwy. And that's okay. You just step away from them. You find another. There are thousands. Okay? You sort through, you figure out what works, and then you do what works. This is what you learn on a daily basis with us. Let's look at the S&P 500, down for that a 1.31%. Red down candle. It's a bit of a spinning top. You have a long wick on the bottom, little wick on top. Price percent oscillators pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator heading down. We had that 2-day recross, didn't we, this last week? We'll look at when that occurred when we get to the 2-day. But we see downward pressure on the S&P 2-day. We actually had that occur on Friday, last Friday. We had that 2-day recross. And of course, how low did it go? The low 456.60, and the jumping in point somewhere in the 460s. So what is, again, the thing to pay attention to? That is your profit and loss bands. And those of you who are looking and saying, wait a minute, he's talking about the S&P losing. Yes, what we're talking about is either shorting that with a put or something like SH, which is an inverse fund. And if you're interested in learning how to make money in your practice trades when the market's going down, you need to learn about these short funds, these inverse funds. And in fact, I'm going to put that training at the end of today's video about inverse funds, how to make money in your practice trades when markets crash. So it's good to know that. Again, we do have that training for Patreon members on options, and it's all you need to get your options practice going. Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way, 3-part series. If you haven't taken it as a Patreon member, you're missing out. Please take it. So we look at the 2-day price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line, derivative oscillator heading down. What about the half day? You can see where lots of indecision in the morning and then tapering off, heading down in the afternoon. After what, through 2 days of up movement, sort of paring down yesterday afternoon. That was Wednesday afternoon, and then that full rotation starting on Thursday. So that's where we are with the S&P 500. Let's go to the tech sector. The Nasdaq 100 down big time, 2.50%. Look at that down candle. No wick on top. Price percent oscillator, almost a little hockey stick here. Derivative oscillator spiking down 2-day. What do we see there? A green spinning top, just like we see on the S&P 500. That was an open box green spinning top. This is a closed box green spinning top. Indecision. See the price percent oscillator nonetheless spiking down. You see the same thing on the S&P. Charts somewhat similar, but more negativity in the Qs. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Look at this half day. It had moved up and then started dying on the vine on Thursday morning, slowing down Wednesday afternoon. So still, what do we take away from this? Lots of downward pressure on stock prices across the board. So keep that in mind as we go into Friday, as we close out this week and get into another week. What about bonds? Up for the day, 0.89%, but look at that huge red down candle. Had a weekly vertical crossover going down last Friday, the 7th, and that price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Today, we saw a slowdown on that Monday, Tuesday candle, Wednesday, Thursday candle. We have a green up candle that's forming, price percent oscillator nonetheless still heading down negative. We see the derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. Price is still below that 2-day trend line, well below the weekly. So still lots of downward pressure, not as much on the 2-day. That is something you should list on your daily market worksheet to be paying attention to that. See what there is to learn from that. Are we just digesting these losses, getting ready to then rotate down again hard? Well, pay attention, see what there is to learn from that. Look at the half day. You can see where things bottomed out and then where they started heading up for 2 days. That was on Monday morning and up Tuesday, Monday morning, afternoon, Tuesday morning, afternoon, then Wednesday, sliding sideways. And then, of course, what do we see happening on Thursday? We see a little indecision in the morning and then popping up on Thursday afternoon, 0.89%. So keep an eye on things. Not as much downward pressure on bonds as there are on stocks, particularly on this 2-day chart, but watch it and pay attention. Still have a good bit of downward pressure there. Now, what about gold? down 0.34% for the day. Now, when we look at gold, we always start, of course, with our weekly chart. Weekly rotated over, going up in gold all the way back on the 29th, the week ending the 29th of October. Went up for three weeks following that, then down for 3 weeks. And then it's sort of been pittering along, sort of an indecisive week ending the 17th of December, then starting to move up on the week ending the 23rd of December and the 31st of December. And then since then, this sideways slide. We do see the price percent oscillators trying to move up. Derivative oscillators gone positive this week after seesawing between green, red, green, red, green. And again, that's showing you lots of indecision. Gold trying to find some foundation for moving up. What do we see on the 2-day? Well, we see two 2-day candles of up movement. Now again, this was the Monday, Tuesday, and this was the Wednesday, Thursday. And again, nice green up candle that's forming, even though we had the down movement on Thursday itself. Price percent oscillator trying to move up. Derivative oscillator gaining a little bit of momentum. As we look at this half day, you can see where we had 2.5 days of climbing and then just sort of lulling down. Not rotating over yet, but losing some of that verve. I'm hoping gold is going to get its feet set and then start swinging and pounding up. But again, it's just sort of stuttering a little bit right now. And you can, particularly see that over the last 2 weeks on this chart. So let's continue to watch and see if gold can get its foundation set and start to take off again. Now, Bitcoin, lastly, we go to Bitcoin, which sort of sets the pace for all the cryptocurrencies pretty much throughout the market, because again, one thing we do for our Patreon members is we go through a whole list of crypto charts, including Grayscale Bitcoin, Grayscale Ethereum, the Bitcoin futures, BITO, BTF, XBTF, and of course, BITW, which is the 10 cryptocurrency fund. And what that is it's weighted toward market capitalization. It's the top 10 cryptocurrencies. But again, what is the big daddy? Bitcoin. What do we see happening? Down movement. And we've got a number of other ETFs that we are looking at in the sector. But Bitcoin overall, lots of downward pressure still. We've had a couple of booming up days. What does that count for? Not a lot in the end. Still have strong downward pressure. Price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator about flat. We see on the 2-day, price percent oscillator a little less than flat. We do have a solid green down candle. Now again, that's a slowdown in the down movement. We've seen that happen in the past. Sort of portended maybe a little bit of up movement, and then Bitcoin collapses again. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. So we'll watch, wait and see. At some point, I'm hoping Bitcoin's going to bottom out, but I don't know when that's going to be. We can see where Bitcoin bottomed out before, around the $41,000 mark. Is it going to do that this time? Don't know. We're going to wait, watch, and see. We look at the half day, and what do we see there? Well, we saw basically a day or so of up movement, and then, exciting up movement, and then things just sort of losing it again. So that is where we are on Bitcoin. Still lots of downward pressure in the cryptocurrencies, along with downward pressure in the stock market, along with downward pressure on bonds. Gold is the only light that's trying to struggle and move up. If there is serious decoupling, my friends, everything goes down as people are trying to cover their margin calls. That happens at the beginning of decoupling. Then once that's sorted out and the losers pay, then things start to change a little bit. That's when you might see some recovery in commodities like gold. You might see the crypto market turn around. But if we're seeing really major deleveraging here, that might take a while to sort out. That is where we are. Don't forget, tomorrow we record the weekly review and forecast. Make sure to always listen to that over the weekends. Fill out your weekly market worksheets too. That's another good thing to do. Thank you so much for all your support, Patreon members. We love you. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.